Welcome to the AWS for AI podcast.
Welcome to AWS for AI, the podcast where we explore cutting-edge AI solutions and the innovators behind them. I'm your host, Hamza Mimi, AWS Solutions Architects. And today, we are recording this episode from Riyadh, capital of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, on the eve of the Saudi National Day. So it's a very special episode for us today. Our guest is Dr. Zuhair Khayat, CTO and co-founder of Lucidya. Dr. Zuhair balances multiple universes all at once. First, the academic research world from Rose-Hulman Institute of Technology to a PhD in computer science from the King Abdullah University of Science and Technology, KAUST. He's an accomplished researcher with multiple research papers spanning large-scale graph processing, big data, cloud computing, and AI. Second, the industry and enterprise world with professional background in big names like SABIC, Aramco, or IBM. And finally, the startup world, as the CTO and co-founder to one of the first AI companies in Saudi Arabia and probably in the Middle East all. Dr. Zuhair is an author, technology enthusiast, and a patent holder inventor. As the CTO of Lucidya, he is one of the key technology minds behind key innovations, delivering breakthrough customer experiences with the most powerful customer experience solutions built for Arab brands. Lucidya has been recognized as the leading AI-powered platform for customer experience management, serving the Middle East and North Africa, and amongst the best worldwide. In this episode, we will explore the use of AI for social listening, enhanced customer experiences, and how AI is helping brands increase their conversion rates, track and enhance brand images, and build the data-centric strategies of tomorrow. Dr. Zuhair, it's a really pleasure to have you with us today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Hamza. It's a pleasure.
So before we go through all the great innovations that you're working on Lucidya, can you tell us a bit more about your personal story, how you became the CTO of Lucidya, but how you all learned all of this technologies that you're working on a daily basis?
Well, if you want to look into the inception of Lucidya, it was actually based on a market need. In 2015, 2016, there were no Saudi or Arabic-based customer experience management tool. And if you look into the founders of Lucidya, they were actually working on other companies where they needed these tools. So somehow it came the idea, why not? Why we don't compete into this area? There is a gap. There's a value creation, and there is something that we can innovate with. So this is how Lucidya started.
And what about you in Lucidya? What's the story? How you joined Lucidya? And I know you had a lot of previous experiences. How were you convinced to join that adventure?
Lucidya, it's a very, very interesting story. I was actually going for a postdoc in Canada, Waterloo. And I get to know Abdullah through friends of friends, and we met and we sat down, and he convinced me that this is the next big thing, and it was the right choice. I started with them in 2017, and until now I'm the CTO of Lucidya.
So Lucidya was created in 2016.
Well, the idea has been there since 2015, 16. Okay. You know, when you start a startup, there is market research. You look into what is the exact nature of the startup, who are your competitors, who are your suppliers, who's your target segment, what is the idea exactly you want to achieve, especially in the customer experience. Customer experience is a very big field. Everybody is doing customer experience, but each company is doing a very specific thing in the customer experience. So it took some time to launch off the ground, especially the founders of Lucidya. Yeah, they did previously some of the startups, some of them succeeded, some of them failed. However, it was never like a SaaS that is focused on this idea of customer experience. So it took around some time, and officially, the first financial year for Lucidya is 2017. However, the creation of Lucidya, it was in 2016.
So 2016, 2017, this is way before the GenAI era.
Definitely, yes.
And what was the vision back in 2016, 17, where you were thinking about creating Lucidya? What was the vision? What problem were you trying to solve at that time?
The problem, Lucidya started with social media listening tool. It was our gateway to reach the customer experience that currently today with Lucidya. At that time, we wanted to do something with AI. AI capabilities were there. Research everywhere about AI, about deep learning, about how to improve the accuracy of conventional models, convolutional neural networks. There are a lot of papers everywhere about AI. However, from an industrial point of view, AI was not heavily adopted. It was not so easy to work on AI. For us, AI was the base of the company. So in 2016, 2017, we actually started with a very, very silly products. It was so silly that it was 60% of the time wrong. It's funny, very funny, but we had to start from somewhere. So we look into the pain. There were no adoption to the Arabic language with its dialects, and we wanted to do something to fill that gap in the market. For the big companies or for the big players in the customer experience, in that time, 2016, the MENA region was not very attractive. So focusing on a single language for a small region, it was not very attractive for them. But for us, it was a more than big enough market. So we started Lucidya. We started working with the Arabic language. We started collecting data. We started experimenting from scratch, trying things. Some of them worked, some of them did not work. And the ones that succeeded, we wrote it down why it succeeded, and then we built on top of that. So our strategy was AI first.
So that's the early inception.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're present outside of Saudi. How many countries are you working with, and what's your presence overall outside of?
We have a footprint in the MENA region. Currently, we are experimenting with the US market. With the European market. We have presence in the Gulf region, including Oman, Qatar, UAE, and we are trying, and our IPO plan is to expand in the MENA region and probably US or Europe, one of them. Excellent. At least.
And what is the mission that you are trying to achieve? If you are able to do that in 10 years, what that would be?
Well, Lucidya's mission is to be the top customer experience tool for businesses, whether it's enterprise, it's small businesses, retail, automotive, anybody with customer experience needs. We would like to be the right arm for innovation for that company, because customer experience in our idea, it's the essential of the success for the companies. If your customers does not like what you sell, probably they would go to your competitor. But highly probable, not probably.
So let's define first some keywords.
Okay.
What is customer experience?
Well, now customer experience is the journey for your client from him or her knowing about your product until they actually buy again and again and again, and they expand, they buy other products, they upgrade their current products, etc. It doesn't matter what's the product that you are selling. It's the journey where your client feel important, feel involved into the journey of actually acquiring your product, into understanding his needs. So you're not trying to, in the customer experience, you're not trying to create a way to just sell your product to the largest number of people. You are targeting a specific people or segment that you would like to give your product for, because they are the one that would appreciate most your product. So you care about their feedback, you care about their satisfaction, you care about their input. It's very important on all the features that whatever a product-based company, the customer feedback is extremely important. It doesn't matter what you make or sell. It's very important. And unless you attend to those, usually companies that are a little bit afraid from the customer voice, or they are ignorant to the customer voice, they wouldn't last long. So it's a survival need for companies.
It's obviously a key element of every business that if your customer is not happy, you don't have a business.
You don't have a business, exactly, because you have to be just like Amazon. You have to be customer obsessed. Otherwise, you'll not survive.
So in that customer journey and that customer experience, there are so many things that go into it. And how does Lucidya help enhance that customer experience from a technology perspective?
So Lucidya, if you look into, if you are auditing Lucidya, it's a technology company that basically it deals with big amount of data coming to Lucidya. It uses a lot of DevOps tools to automate, scale the resources of whatever that we are building. And plus, we use a lot of AI tools to understand, to analyze, to annotate, allow our customers to utilize the tool or the service that they are getting from Lucidya into whatever they need into the customer experience. We help clients to analyze their footprint into the social media. We help them with market research, understand how they compare to their competitors. They understand how good are their services, what are the problems that they are facing with the clients, and also engage with them in a healthy and very quickly.
So multiple elements you mentioned here. There is this, or multiple maybe use cases. There is the brand management and trying to understand how your brand is being viewed by your customers, but even by your prospects.
Exactly, yes.
The research, the business competitive research you mentioned as well. And then managing surveys and profiles of your target population, basically. Is that a fair assessment?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So brand management is also in itself a wide field. What are some of the problems that your customers come to you with, and how do you help them in the brand management side of things?
So there are a lot of things in brand management. So one of the things that we help them in brand management, whenever they create a marketing campaign or they go to some influencers to talk about the company, usually there are a lot of feedback or a lot of input from the people when they see this marketing campaign or the influencer interview or anything. So people like to express their feelings thanks to social media and the innovations on the internet. We help the brands understand whether the marketing campaign was a success or not. We help them to understand the return of investment, even if it's not direct, if it's an indirect return of investment, whether this helped to improve their image. Crisis management is one of the things that we help our clients with. So it's part of brand management. If something went wrong about your brand, we help them to understand what happened. We help them to understand the things that related to the issue, and then they can take decisions into how to mitigate this problem.
Okay, so capturing maybe negative signals before they become a trend?
Yes, and a lot of our clients, with the tools that we built at Lucidya, they can know about the issues before it becomes trends. And this is one of the key selling points of Lucidya to our clients.
In your experience, how would you manage these cases? So you have maybe some negative signals coming in. First, you need to assess it, and that's a big topic, and we will go into that discussion. But once you know there is some portion of your customers or your prospects that have a negative signal in social media, for example, what should customers do? What should your customers do? Like the companies. What?
So let's see from the beginning. Now, there is a problem in your brand, and there is a negative trend about your brand. So by using the AI tools that we create, we are able to catch those signals very early using natural language understanding. And to help our clients, we give them alerts, reports on whatever is happening. So some of the things, or say there's a negative signal, sometimes they need to act, sometimes they need just to wait for the right moment to reply. This depends on the business strategy, whether sometimes, so this is one of the key things that we help our clients with, it's retention. Sometimes if there's a problem and a lot of people talking about this problem, you need to retain those clients because they are your clients. So we help our customers to reach out to those and to retain them. There are simple ways to retain. The simplest thing is by giving a discount coupon or something for unsatisfied clients, to actually getting in touch with them to understand what's the problem and actually solving their problem if this is something that needs solving, not just a bad experience. Sometimes it's not retention. Sometimes it's actually client acquisition. If your competitor is having a bad day, this is your chance to actually jump in and get those clients to yourself. And this is like the classic way of acquiring new clients.
So it's not only about monitoring for your brand, but for all of the markets and all of your competitors in a specific segment.
In public data, yes.
Yes, nice. And depending on those signals, you then have reports, you detect alerts,
yes,
and then you can act on them. Communication, yes. If it's a problem, you need to focus on and solve.
Either return or expand or cross-sell or actually acquire.
Interesting.
These are the 4 pillars of selling more or building the business.
Interesting. So that's the brand management side of things. You also help in the customer care, right? So
exactly.
Companies do have multiple channels that interact with their customers, from support to selling to providing a quote to, it depends on the actual business. And you are also helping in optimizing for that. How does that work?
Basically, customer support is one of the very interesting use cases that we have at Lucidya. It's very important for brands to maintain their clients and support them. And in a lot of ways. And either you are changing reservation, whether it's flights, hospital appointment or whatever, into actually getting your questions answered or reporting an issue, or actually talking to someone about your shipment, your package, whatever. And customer support is one of the keystones for brands with a lot of competitors to actually retain their clients. Because if there is a customer feedback or a customer with a problem and he is not able to reach the customer support, this is a very big problem. And most probably that this client, if he's facing this issue the first time, the second time, the third time, and you are not there to hear him out, most probably wouldn't be a 4th time. That's for a very loyal customer.
And sometimes if you don't open that channel, some of the customers will put something on X or on other social media. Some will not even communicate.
Yes, that's the way that happens now, yes.
So that's the customer care and support use case. There is also the research, the market research. So that's an even different one. And you can also support businesses in evaluating opportunities for future businesses or evaluate new decisions or products that they're looking at, right?
Exactly.
So how does that work?
So I will give you an actual example. We have banks in our portfolio that are customers of Lucidya, and they actually use Lucidya in a very, very interesting way. Now, as you can see, the credit card market there is a lot of challenge there's a lot of opportunity and a lot of innovation coming with the whatever benefits that you are able to provide to the credit cards, etc. So one of the use cases that we are actually surprised that the bank uses Lucidya this way is to see what are the offers that are provided by their competitors through the social media, and then study those offers and then provide counter offers to their clients in a way that to acquire more clients or actually retain their clients. It's a very, very interesting case.
Basically, you have better knowledge about what your competitors are doing, and you can detect
very quickly and make decisions on what is the best way to proceed. So how you are competing with the market.
And then I'll go to another use case, which is the marketing optimization. So you mentioned already you can help define the ROI for marketing campaigns.
Exactly.
You also work with marketing agencies, I guess?
We have marketing agencies in
as
our
customers.
portfolio, yes. Yep.
So that is a whole different business.
It is.
How is Lucidya positioning there, and what kind of solutions you're offering for that market?
At the moment, we are building the solution. It's not fully matured yet, but we have a couple of clients using our marketing tools to understand building the ROI, etc. And it's been great. The way that we position our products is that something that is the next level. We try to first get into the market with best solutions, and then we innovate on top of that, where we can compete in the market and provide solutions that have not been there.
Okay, so that brings me to an interesting topic I wanted to discuss with you. Is Lucidya was created before the GenAI era.
Yep.
And now with all of the innovations, there are two things. How do you cope up with the speed of innovation, and how do you take product decisions, feature decisions, because that's an investment from your side, but maybe 3 weeks down the line, somebody will create that solution for it. How do you decide where to invest your focus, money, and efforts?
So the GenAI made the SaaS market in danger, especially the B2C SaaS market. The market entry became very low. Anybody can get in with any product that matches existing products. But now for us, Lucidya, yes, again, anybody can enter the customer experience very quickly. However, now it depends on how you position your product. It's not about building the product, it's about the value creation. What problem you are trying to solve for your clients, and what value you are providing to them. Regardless whether, even if it's you are building something legacy, not based on state-of-the-art technology, maybe the client does not need the new technology. They need actually to actually solve a pain point at the moment. Then you can convince them with whatever technology that you are providing. So for us, we have been very lucky. GenAI has been in our side. We are using it heavily in all of our aspects, from ideation to POCs to product delivery to actually market research, evaluations, in all of our aspects. Even for our own AI models, it sped our ability to provide new AI models by threefold. Previously, it took 3 to 6 months for us to provide a new version for any model that we have. For example, the sentiment model, now I can bring up in a couple of weeks a new version, way better than the previous version, and it's much more optimized. So it's been helping us to achieve a higher number of clients, and it helped us to innovate. So it's been our ally because we believe in the GenAI.
So you mentioned something I'm hearing from CTOs I talk to all the time, which is you shouldn't focus on the technology, you should focus on the problem.
You should focus on the value creation.
And the value creation. So
exactly.
You need to understand what's the pain point of your customers and what's the value you're going to bring to that customer, and then technology will follow.
Yep.
Either it's there and you'll be bringing it, or you build that technology. That's also how you see things.
Yes, you must always focus on the value creation, what you're actually trying to solve for the client. Because even that with the GenAI now we see technologies come and go very quickly. In a matter of weeks, there are always a new technology. However, it doesn't mean if there's a new technology, it's actually solve the pain point that your clients are having. You need to focus on the actual pain point. What is the value creation for them? Why they should subscribe or buy your product? Then you can actually try to upskill your product or improve your product. Because if you came up with a product that is so innovative but nobody wants it, you would be very early in the market and you would lose your competitive edge. And that's something you need to balance. Do not always show your cards because it can be easily disregarded, or you can easily pay a lot of money for a technology that nobody needs.
Yeah, being too early in a market is as bad as being too late.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
On the technology side now, you are also trying to use that technology.
Mm-hmm.
How are you keeping up with all the innovations?
R&D. As simple as that, R&D. So we do a lot of R&D in Lucidya, and we park it until the right moment. If once we want to solve a problem for the client or solve a pain point or value creation that requires this technology, then it's there. It's already been researched. It's already been developed internally. And then we just grab and go and release it.
So you're having always that running wheel.
Exactly.
And R&Ds and keeping the momentum.
Keeping them aside, doing the research, doing the POCs, doing the implementation. Keep it aside until it's being requested by the clients.
Interesting. Let's talk a bit about the actual solutions that Lucidya has. There is the OmniServe solution. You're also providing solutions for social listening, for omnichannel communications. Can you talk a bit about the products that Lucidya has developed? And
so there are, assume that you went to the sales team and asked them, what can I use Lucidya? So they have two big umbrellas of use cases. It's research and support. Those are like the two umbrellas. Now the details of each use case or set of products, they differ. What you just mentioned, OmniServe, omnichannel, social listening, and we have also CDP survey and marketing very, very soon. Those are the bundles of products that actually serve your use case. We try to understand from our clients what is their use case, what they are trying to solve, what is their pain point, and then the solution consultant at Lucidya, they proposes a set of products that fits together very nicely to solve that specific pain point.
Okay.
For us, social listening is obviously it's from the name, we listen and monitor social media. Omni-channel, where you have all of your channels from all of the data sources that is available at Lucidya in one place that you can monitor them. In OmniServe, it's the customer support where you actually engage with your clients and support them with whatever queries that you have.
Those products are built on foundational building blocks that you developed?
Not necessarily. We utilize foundational models to improve our offering.
Okay, so you build your own models, deep learning models for specific use cases.
Yes.
And you're also keeping an eye on the foundational model in particular other use cases.
Yes.
Can you talk a bit about what are your challenges when you're building a new model, and what's your approach to that?
Previously, before the GenAI.
Before GenAI and then after GenAI.
Before GenAI, data was a problem. Collecting data and annotating the data, it took a lot of money and a lot of resources, human resources, to clean the data, to collect the proper data, and be able to come up with the best golden data set for your models to be able to be evaluated properly and built properly. But after the GenAI, this has been a blessing for us. As I said, we have been able to release new versions in a matter of weeks rather than a matter of months. We are able to annotate large amount of data from different foundational models, just like how you used to use people to actually annotate the data and then try to understand if this annotation is correct or not. Now we use foundation models to allow this. Even for fictional data, sometimes you need, if you have a class that have low amount of data and you need to generate random data that fits the same scope or criteria, GenAI is amazing that it will be able to generate whatever data that you like in whatever scope you like, or business or field that would actually fit your class to be able to do things faster.
So now you have access to that synthetic data. Before, you've done some amazing work with, for example, ASAD, the Arabic sentiment analysis data, I guess. And few interesting findings from that paper is even human annotators did not necessarily agree on the sentiment analysis.
Yes, correct.
I think in that paper, kappa values were around 0.63, 0.64.
Yes, correct.
Which means it's not a general consensus if it's a positive, negative, or neutral statement. That makes the problem hard.
Yes.
And GenAI will not solve that. How are you able to navigate that ambiguity in human communication?
So there are a lot of strategies to achieve that. And this is actually one of the things that we solve for our clients. Sometimes our clients, they are not convinced with whatever our AI models give them, but after we explain the calculation and why it was done, they would understand the value that we are providing to them. This was challenging before 2020, but now everybody understands technology, everybody understands AI, and they accept the room of error of whatever AI models can provide. So to answer your question, there are multiple strategies to get consensus. One of the things that whenever you are building a model, it doesn't give you an exact answer. It gives you a probability. So in simple terms, if you have a probability of 65% that this post is positive and the rest is between neutral and negative, then most probably this goes to the positive point of the sentiment for this text. Assume it's a short text. If it's between 65 and 50, then there's a lot of room of error, then it goes into the neutral. This is one way people do it. Another way is you build something that is called aspect sentiment, where each part of the sentence has its own sentiment, and then you either transfer this information to the client that this part of the sentence is negative, but this part is positive. But however, in general, it looks like the intention of the person is positive, not negative. Just like if you went to the restaurants, the food is great, even though the waiter was rude. So this sentence is clearly positive because you like the experience. However, it has a negative part. So by training our AI models to try to understand the intention and the sentiment, it would help to achieve a higher accuracy because it's all about the intention of the person, even though if they used negative keywords that would be misleading. That helped us a lot into improving the accuracy of our models.
And that work now with the synthetic data from LLMs, one common fear that I'm hearing is also bringing the biases from whatever foundational models to the synthetic data.
That would happen with even human, not just foundational models.
What you're saying is this is happening anyway, and we basically need to enable our end customers to understand that this is there.
So there is always error. Even foundational models, they make mistakes. So for the error that we are providing is less than 8%, I would say, in the worst case. And 8% for big amount of data, it's nothing. So bias is there. We try to solve it with very innovative ways to come up with data on a specific topics, on a specific use cases, on a specific segments, specific companies, specific problems, where you have this trying to generalize from different areas so that the model would be able to understand. And even similar to, if you notice the breakthrough in agentic AI, you don't use one foundation model, so one agentic AI to do all of your tasks. You take it from one agent to another agent to another, to a third agent, where each one has its scope, each one, it has its advantages and disadvantages, where you try to come up with the best outcome from the combined solution. Now, this is what we have been doing in Lucidya. Even before the GenAI, we developed more than, I forgot, more than 40 or 50 AI models. And they communicate internally between each other. So a decision, it might, so let's say the sentiment model made a decision, it might be revisited if another AI model gave it another signal that you might need to revisit, because there's an extra information that we extracted, not very clear for the sentiment model for that specific part of the text. So we utilize that to make sure that different AI models work on different parts, and they feed each other intelligence to achieve a higher outcome.
So you capture information maybe outside of that specific text?
Yes,
like
correct.
in social media now, people can communicate in emojis.
Exactly, yes,
and
emojis.
can communicate in different ways.
Sarcasm emojis,
Yes.
Sometimes the keywords that they use, you can understand their age or from the text that
From how
they use.
they write.
Yeah,
yes.
like for example, for the new generation, people under 15, they use undead for, unalive for actually a dead person. And it's a hip word that people, I believe above 20, they don't use that. So we noticed those small changes, small keywords that are being used to be able to understand a lot of things. As I said, we detect spam, we understand sarcasm, we understand emojis, especially in Arabic. Arabic sarcasm is like a nightmare for a lot of researchers. And that's what we wanted to help with this paper, ASAD, is to give to the community data set that they are able to use so that to enrich their AI models.
So from somebody who's not deep into the work you're doing, when I read the ASAD paper and the other work you're doing, I think that actually large foundational models are less biased than human annotators. Is this true?
Because we use a pool of foundational models, not only one. And generally speaking, yes, the foundational models are, especially if you have a very short-term memory, you don't use a very long-term memory, they would be more accurate and effective compared to humans.
Let's talk a bit about Arabic. You mentioned Arabic. I know it's most internet data is in English, and there is a strong bias in the early models. Now it's getting much better, but in the early models, Arabic support was not there, and Arabic is not one language. There is the classic Arabic, there is the Khaliji Arabic, Lebanese, Moroccan, all sorts of different, fundamentally different languages. How have you seen the Arabic support in large language models, and what was your approach to getting the accuracy you need in the Arabic language?
We worked on dialects even before the GenAI. Now I see GenAI, they're amazing. They're doing things that I think nobody has anticipated that they're able to do that. Like you're able to chat with the GPT in any dialect. I know a guy that he loves to talk to ChatGPT, and actually he asks ChatGPT to talk to him in a very specific dialect because he likes to hear the dialect that way. So yes, they are doing an amazing work, the foundation models. I think if anybody is working into that specific problems of understanding the Arabic language, they need to take into consideration the dialects. From our experience, the most difficult dialect, you wouldn't guess, the Jordanian. It's the hardest to train, hardest to actually collect data on, because it is so close to the Syrian, Palestinian, Iraq. It's like it's there. So it's so scattered, so that even for humans, it's very difficult. But you need to collect data set for every dialect, preferably clean enough, with some noise. Noise is fine, because no two people talk the same or use the same dialects, and languages are fluid, they change over time. So you need to capture the time essence with the data that you are collecting, because this information are very important for whatever training you're doing. And then try to come up with multiple models for each data set. And then, as I said, you take consensus by the end of the day from all of the models.
I certainly wouldn't have guessed that Jordanian is hard.
Really,
but
really,
now I
it's
understand
hard.
because of you need to limit data contamination with other
Exactly.
very close languages. I want to go to another topic that another research paper that you released. I like the title very much. Train your cake and eat it too. And in that paper, you're trying to solve a very interesting problem in fine-tuning large language models for regulated industry, where you don't want to send high sensitive data to the cloud or to whatever remote system that provides that compute capacity, and still want to use that compute capacity that you don't have.
That's correct.
There's a bunch of technical concepts there. Can you just talk about the general idea behind that paper?
Okay. So let's take one step back. Why? What are the ways for companies or individuals or entities to work on private data without violating the data privacy data? So there are multiple ways. The first way is anonymization. This is like the standard in industry, to anonymize the data, and then you send the result to whatever model that you'd like to build, so that you hide the private or personal information or whatever. This works great, but it has its own limitations. With foundational models, we found out that there are a lot of mistakes happen or hallucinations happen with the foundational models when you anonymize the data, because you're losing an essential part of the text that would actually make sense for the text. Like, for example, if you say, my number is, and you put a number. So my number is can be an ID card, can be a phone number, can be SIM card number, can be anything. So you're using the context here, and context is important, especially for foundation models. Now, the second thing is we have seen an increase in encrypted CPUs. They're very expensive technology, where you have a machine in the cloud or somewhere else where the CPU and memory are encrypted, so the virtual machine or the host that runs your load, it doesn't understand or doesn't know whatever you're doing. But again, you are sending the data across the border, and most of the data privacy regulations, they limit even border crossing. So that would help, but not with data localization. Now, another way is actually, it's a research that started with KAUST, and we've been lucky to participate in the research with them. We had the data, they had the infrastructure, but based on data regulations, I cannot send them the data, and they cannot actually give me their supercomputers. So how to solve this problem? Basically, we use split learning strategy, where in simple words, you are splitting the fine-tuning workload into two steps. The first step is you do your, if you have example in iterations into the training, you do the first part into your local machine, which is not supposed to be a very high end. Just you do enough training in your local machine to the extent that you don't have enough data that would be compromised, or you reverse engineer, or there are no, because all what you have in the training, you have numbers, vectors. It's all numbers. There's nothing personal. And then you continue the training into the remote machine with the rest of the iterations. Now, the secret is where to split. So if you split too early, you would release more private data to the host or to the second iteration. But if you split very late, you would be spending a lot of iterations in your source machine where we wouldn't benefit from the split learning. So you need to find the balance, the sweet spot where you can balance both privacy and performance. And at the same time, what communication strategy or protocol, by the end of the day, you need to do a feedback loop between the two machines or two clusters where they need to communicate and then redo the training over and over until you fine tune whatever you're doing. And we found out in this paper that using the U-shape communication mechanism and the use case we're trying to solve, that the training accuracy did not drop a lot. So we maintained a similar accuracy to the same large language model we were fine-tuning when compared to training without split learning, like in a single machine or single cluster, compared to split learning. So the numbers were close enough with an acceptable margin of error, where now you are getting an extra benefit where you're preserving the privacy while you're not actually losing performance.
How was that split decided? Is this one machine to 10, or what kind of split are you doing?
It's the number of iterations. It doesn't matter.
Not the compute.
No,
not based on the
compute.
compute capacity.
You're splitting based on the training iterations, where you actually need to continue the training in the destination machine or the host machine compared to the...
So you start locally?
Yes.
And then you don't do the training locally, you send...
You ship
split.
the intermediate data and then you continue there.
And then you continue there, and then you can scale the compute capacity to whatever.
Exactly. And then there's a
you want,
feedback loop to get back, because you need to ship the results to make sure that you continue training properly.
Okay. And you, in that scenario, you're not sending all of your data?
Nope.
And you will not be able to reverse engineer your source data from whatever vectors they're used?
Theoretically speaking, yes.
Yeah. So because part of it never goes to
it was never shipped. You actually send the deltas or the intermediate data.
Yes. Interesting. What use cases, because how are you, or what customers requires these use cases or have these constraints for you on?
So basically, let me give you an example of industry that are highly regulated, actually two, the healthcare and the banking sector. Those are one of the two highly regulated industries that they always require their data to be, if it's not on premise, it to be localized within the premise of the country, the same region, the same country. And the data are considered highly sensitive because you have patient information, you have banking information, you have transactions. All of those are considered to be private information and others are sensitive. So you need to actually protect those data to make sure that nobody else has access to or unauthorized access. And here becomes a dilemma where there is innovation. It's a fast-going innovation, but this industry is not catching up. So this paper is a way for us to actually tackle this problem, where now even industries that are highly regulated, they are able to catch up with the innovations. I would bet that foundational models with patient data and banking sectors, it will actually help a lot with understanding a lot of things that we have not seen previously. I know that there are a lot of people that they're actually going to do blood tests and then they don't go to the doctor. They actually give it to ChatGPT and tell them, what do you recommend that I do? Even though ChatGPT can make mistakes, however, I have seen it in some cases that actually ChatGPT is more right, or they're giving you a correct answer much better than what a doctor might give you.
There's actually a comparative paper that was released about this, and large language model becomes more accurate than specialists. And
yes, because they already have access to a large amount of data that you cannot imagine. If it was humanly possible that you read all the words knowledge or books, then you'd have this ability to actually summarize. But if you couldn't, then that's... That's why we have foundation models.
And to go back to your approach for the U-shaped split learning, beyond the regulated industry, this can also be used as a security mechanism.
Sure.
Even for non-highly regulated,
Sure.
you want to actually keep that access to your data and scale the compute capacity elsewhere.
Basically, it gives you a framework for to partnership with different entities, with the data owners and data processors, without actually compromising the integrity or privacy of the data.
Wonderful. I want to go to some of your experience in the early age of starting Lucidya. As a CTO, a lot of our listeners in this podcast are starting their own startups in the AI realm. What would be your advice on critical things that they need to focus on? And from your experience, what message would you address to a new CTO in a new startup just starting their own idea?
So with the GenAI, it did not change. Basically, you focus on the value creation and the fastest way to actually build your product. It doesn't matter if it's good or not. It matters if you actually are the first to go to the market or not. The time to market is a very important metric from the ideation of your feature or product until actually customer delivery. And when I say customer delivery, it's actually you deliver to the client and you have actually sold the client to the feature, not selling, sold. And especially in the SaaS sector for a B2B, it takes a lot of time to actually get a client and get him convinced with your product. The sales cycle is a little bit long compared to consumer products and other B2C businesses. Having said that, so the focusing, being customer centric, just like Amazon, and focus on the value creation, it's the essential part of anything. It doesn't matter the technology, that any technology can work. Now, when it comes, if you have two choices, either doing it the right way or the quick way wins, because if you do not do it fast enough, somebody else will do it and beat you to the market. This is the main focus of what young CTOs or people that getting into the startup era would need to focus on.
So you need to balance that urge to build things the way you think are the best and that time to market. And time to market, actually, when talking even to large billion-dollar enterprises, that's still a problem for them. Everybody is trying today to reduce the time to market. And as a startup, that's where you bring the most value because you're more agile.
You're more flexible.
Yeah.
You don't have the baggage, so you can move very easy. And even for 10-year startups or 20 years companies, you need to change. You need to pivot very quickly. So it might be difficult, but they have to do that to survive. We have seen that what happened with Kodak. They couldn't pivot fast enough, and then they went bankrupt.
The list of graveyard companies is big to deal with this. In the AWS technology perspective, you were working with AWS since a long time ago now. What is also your advice for now, not startups, but for builders using AWS or starting to use AWS to do the right thing and use AWS in a way that helps drive their business?
Well, that's a little bit this question requires another episode to how to do it right. There are a lot of things to consider in AWS. I have been using AWS since 2011. I was using it for my research, actually. I remember I was using my own credit card and just provisioning thousands of machines just to do some of the experiments we were using for our paper while doing my PhD. So Amazon technology is amazing. it matters in any cloud, not only in any hyperscaler, not only Amazon. You need to focus on which technology would give you the ability to market faster or to build your product faster. So you can, I'll give you a very quick example. You can actually, if you need a database, you can get an RDS, or you can actually install it yourself through an EC2. It doesn't matter which one is better. It matters which one is faster for you and easily to maintain. So if RDS was, you did not have an IT team or technical team that are required, then the managed services are the way to go. But if you have a very highly technical team, then you should do it yourself, because you'll be able to do it cheaper and you'll be able to scale better if you have the know-how. So it matters on your team. Yeah. If you have the know-how, then doing it manually would be the way to go. If you don't be shy from using the managed services.
Excellent. Thank you for the feedback. From now an AI world perspective, what do you think are the trends to watch for? And where do you see the AI world moving forward in the next 6 months to 5 years? That's nobody's guess, but
no, that's nobody
let's
can
take
guess.
A stab on it.
Yeah, the innovation that we have seen in the past 2 years, it's tremendous and it's amazing. I guess nobody have seen that coming. I'm not surprised. We always knew the capabilities of AI, but I think it was sooner than we expected. I guess in the next 6 months, we'll be able to see a much smaller startups coming up from nowhere to compete with big companies and to compete very heavily on smaller market segments. Yes, of course, bigger companies will be able to sustain or to keep their market share. However, they will have a lot of small individual competitors everywhere that they will be annoying. So big companies need to adapt and shift very quickly. And this is what we are currently doing at Lucidya. In the past 2 years since they announced the first ChatGPT, we held up a meeting and with the CEO and we said, now it's time to shift. And we shifted the complete Lucidya into a different working model internally in the company. And now everything in Lucidya, now we are automating it from A to Z using AI. And we are forcing all departments to actually adapt with the newer technologies, because if you couldn't do that, you wouldn't be able to adapt. And even if the technology are not being appreciated by your clients, just do an R&D, keep it aside. We have a lot of surprises in Lucidya in our pockets. We are just keeping it aside till the right moment because we don't want to go very early to the market, and we don't want to lose sight of what's important. Yeah, so they have to adapt very quickly. That's basically how people will adapt with AI, because if they couldn't adapt, they would lose very quickly, very fast.
Thank you very much. That was a very interesting discussion, and hopefully we'll have another opportunity to discuss.
Sure, my pleasure.
In the future with all of the innovations that are coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we have reached the end of our fascinating discussion with Dr. Zuhair Khayat. Lucidya is a truly great example of the Saudi AI startup ecosystem. For those interested in learning more about Lucidya's innovation, you can find links to their work on our platforms and on the show notes. If you enjoyed today's episode, please hit subscribe wherever you get your podcast and leave us a rating and review. And as always, until next time, this is Hamza Mimi thanking you for listening. Keep exploring, keep innovating, and we will catch you on our next episode.